Alright lads, this video is once again going to be a bit different because I only have commentary at the boss fight floor of this tower. I eventually stopped caring about giving my opinions on some parts of the tower after my 5th playthrough because I have spent a little bit of time on it over the course of 2 days. I am instead going to try something different and commentate over my 40 or so minute playthrough of this tower with many cuts whenever I fall until I get to the boss fight. Basically guiding you through the guided trials. Considering this is some people's first time even hearing about this tower, I hope to explain why you should not play this if you are looking for an intense tower to complete. This tower introduces 4 characters named Newbie, Dean, Emerald, and Blaine. Each character has a section that consists of 2 floors. Newbie returns for floor 9 with remorseless gameplay, and there is a boss fight section on floor 10. Newbie's first appearance is very short, especially in comparison with the rest of the tower. There isn't anything too noteworthy here besides maybe a button puzzle and some elevators that can be annoying to time. What isn't short is the essay-length script I wrote for the commentary because I need to do a lot of yapping for 30 or so minutes. Afterwards you fit through a rotating gap and trigger some obstacles that spawn sometimes. It is possible to not trigger them, but either way these aren't too hard to get across as you can just jump on them. The solid clouds here are not platforms, you will fall through them if you attempt to jump on them, so instead you will want to perform a head hitter. There is a button that activates a 5-second descent to the bottom of the cave that if you fail, you have to repeat. Then there is this X pusher section that isn't too hard, you just wait for a bit and then fit through some gaps. You'll want to face directly in front of the truss to climb it as the entry to the next section is so tight that I am going to have to practice some serious self-restraint from making an innuendo. You then speed run across a tunnel of sorts and then freedom dive to a platform all in 15 seconds. These elevators are honestly really bloody annoying to time properly, but that may be a skill issue from my end. With that, you're pretty much done with the first section. Now we meet Dean, who focuses more on gimmicks and mechanics than actual platforming. This also introduces an increase in time commitment as his experiments are very dragged out. The first bits of his trial are self-explanatory. You shouldn't need an explanation on how to complete some basic spinning platform fuckery. These spinning sets of obstacles aren't too hard, unless you're like me who manages to somehow miss this jump entirely. You then descend a pit of kill bricks, but there are holes you'll want to squeeze through. Be careful at the bottom, as there is a 1-stud X pusher you use to dodge some punchy things and a spinner to press a button. When the button is pressed, you'll want to follow the arrow to move on to the next section. This is indicated, I don't think you will struggle here. There is a section consisting of spinning platforms and some jumps that you have 42 seconds to complete outside, but there is a teleporter acting as a safety net, so if you fuck up here it's fine. Even I managed to fuck up and I recovered, so you'll be fine. Afterwards, Dean will subject you to some of his black magic fuckery experiments. The first one is a guess where the platform is game, where you use a spinning brick to highlight where platforms are. You'll want to use both the walls and floor for indication. This one eventually becomes memory, so it's not the worst thing in the world. The second experiment is completing some basic platforming while there is a spinning kill brick. The kill brick should be the least of your worries as it does fuck all to your health. And I somehow managed to miss that. Holy shit. Afterwards you basically hug a wall and move on to the next section. Here you have a cannon mounted to an X pusher. Focus on the left side of the cannon where you have to use it to knock 4 white bricks off a conveyor. If you miss one, you have to reset all the bricks. All the right side of the cannon is doing is creating a path of cannonballs you can use to get to the next experiment, but this isn't too necessary to focus on as it is possible without them. In fact, these cannonballs might be a hindrance to getting to the end as they spin while you stand on them. The next experiment introduces ice. Your character slides across ice while making contact with it, so it can become challenging to complete a simple parkour. I would jump after standing on every platform to kind of negate the ice effect. I also somehow managed to fuck up, which is fun. This tower is very buggy in its current state. I encountered at least 2 bugs in this playthrough that I will mention when I get to them, but I've also triggered a skip entirely on accident 3 separate times that skips a lot of floor 8. Okay, I guess I skipped that. No, please! Bro, what? One of them was even in the practice game and I don't even know how to fucking explain this one. Oh, I got sent somewhere. This experiment tests your intellectual capabilities. It gives you a couple hints to figuring out a 4-digit number. It's 4389. Here's my working out. In the next minigame, you press a button to activate a moving platform and dodge lasers. This one is probably the most simple experiment so far. Then you enter a room where you have 3 seconds to memorize a code and 15 seconds in a room designed to kill you where you dodge spinning and moving kill bricks. If you performed the best financial decision of your life and bought the trial mix, now would be a good time to use it. After some time you enter a hole and fill in the code you had 3 seconds to remember. This next obstacle course is very fucky and weird as physics are swapped around. Here, ice textures are ordinary platforms, kill brick textures are ice platforms, and studded pieces are kill bricks. Keep this in mind for later on as well. Here I chose to perform a skip across an ice spinner across to the button because I don't feel like trying to do the rest of the course ahead. The next experiment is guiding a box across a conveyor without it getting pushed off by some walls. You have buttons to start and stop the conveyor. I don't think this one needs to be explained. I am honestly starting to get tired of explaining these, and it has only been maybe a fifth of the tower, holy moly. This next experiment introduces disappearing platforms. They have 4 phases, basically indicating when they will disappear. When they are black they're solid, but when they turn completely white they're no longer solid and you will fall through them. The 2 greys in between are solid as well. The next experiment builds on this as well, but this time you are completing a maze with the floor turning into basically lava. Your goal in the maze is to look for a truss you can climb to move on to the next experiment. I will spend this time here yapping about something else entirely as this is very dragged out. I hope to yell and scream across easy content again soon enough, as doing new hardest towers every time I play gets tiring and I spend more time focused on the tower than anything. I want to eventually do Tower of Traps, as I've been suggested this a few times at this point, and maybe some other content that's challenging and below. Basically, I'd just like to get back into playing the game for what it is rather than playing the game just to push myself further and further for a little bit. I also think I need to go outside. I spent 20 years in this maze, so I'm once again going to say that I completed this tower because it was slightly harder than the Citadel of laptop splitting, and I did not feel like playing the Citadel. Anyway, we're done with the maze, so we move on to time platforms. When you step on them, they disappear after a few seconds, as defined by the numbers on the platforms. It's really simple, and I don't think this needs much explaining. After that, Dean will throw every mechanic at you all at once and force you to do a series of bullshit obstacles. I am not even going to attempt to explain what the fuck is going on here, but you'll need to remember a code to get to the end, which is green, red, blue, green, blue. You get used to this section eventually, but you may loot fail some things because after all, it is a bunch of gimmicks thrown in all at once. You see how fucking long this tower is, right? I still have 3 more sections to comment over before the boss fight. What else am I supposed to put here? I suppose you do have to be careful in the final section as there are swapped materials again and you can't jump, especially for the slippery bit you climb onto and the slippery bit at the corner of a 1-stud path, but that's really about it. After inputting the code from earlier, you complete one more wraparound and then teleport to one more section. This one is basically a joke though, as you are pressing buttons on the sides of a cube. It's effectively popping pimples in a way. Once they're all pressed, you summon a truss and drag it over to the cube so you can climb on top of it and teleport to Emerald's section. Emerald is a whore. Her section is mostly purist in contrast to Dean's section, as floor 5 right here consists of a lot of platforming. I hope you like wraparounds because there are a lot of them here and it only gets worse further on. There are some bits that are differently coloured, and those are fake platforms. The first one is explained and you should be familiar with fake platforms by now. I think here you want to somehow jump over from one end of this slanted obstacle to the other, but instead I opted to climb up the obstacle because I found this to be easier. There is a platform that disappears upon stepping on it, which I'm pretty sure is only used once in this floor. From here on, you have mostly straightforward gameplay, and I don't have anything to say here. There are conveyors here. These are indicated, but you may want to pay attention to where they go. It is possible to get caught off guard and not have enough momentum to move to the next one. You walk around trusses here. Don't worry about the gaps, just keep moving and you should be fine. Doing a 180, however, requires a bit more effort. What I did was exit shift lock, rotate the camera to face the truss behind me, press W and then jump. And shortly after go back into shift lock by pressing right shift. For once, I did not use the mouse here. After doing very basic wraparounds and jumps, you may have to wait for a moving platform. The invisible bit indicating where the platform will stop is slightly misleading, as the platform moves when the edge of the platform touches it. Avoid the obstacles as well. You may want to zoom in for this tight section as you can't really jump here. This shouldn't be too hard. There are platforms that move in and out of a wall here, so I suppose you should get familiar with when to jump. I would jump when the platform you are standing on is almost inside the wall. With the spinning platforms here, you'll want to be careful because I have had an instance of the spinning platforms knocking me off the platform to jump onto the first one. I suppose just stay close to the center of the cylinder, then move out after the platform above you is passed. After playing the waiting simulator, you jump onto a wedge platform and move counterclockwise around the cylinder. Don't worry about the spinning kill bricks here because they don't do enough to be a real hazard. There are more wraparounds because fuck you. And then there is a zipline section. This trolls you by design, as it stops outside the tower and then does some witchcraft to teleport you to the next section. Floor 6 is outside, but this is netted as falling at any point here will send you back to this part. There are once again spinning platforms that I hope you get used to because these are the very first sets of obstacles you'll probably be repeating a few times. There is a very long tightrope section that I just jump across because I am Timothy. There are more spinny platforms, but this time the kill bricks are solid so you'll want to avoid them by jumping over or around them. These are pretty simple as well, even when you have to perform wraparounds while the platform is spinning. You have 40 seconds to complete a set of obstacles. Don't worry too much about the time as this is plenty of time, just focus on the obstacles. Here you want to basically treat this section as if you are walking on a live minefield. You have to watch your step. When you get close enough to a platform, it will disappear or change its behavior in a way that can be seen as unpredictable at first. This is only hard the first time though, as you get familiar with this section relatively quickly and it's not that hard. This bit isn't timed, so don't worry if you still have time left like I do here. This next section is similar yet different. Every obstacle appears for a brief moment then goes invisible. It's basically a memory section, and once again this is only really hard the first time as afterwards you understand the gimmick and this becomes easier to predict. I would be especially careful on the truss section as you have to perform another 180. You'll want to get familiar with where the wedge wall is as this will push you off if you go too far. There is one more wraparound because why not? Afterwards you go onto a platform that is weighed down on the side you stand on. You will want to perform a jump where you weigh it down, then do a relatively high jump before the platform tilts across to the other side. Then you go under a wall. If you have the attack helicopter game pass, now is a good time to use it. Be careful though because you could walk off the other end. Then you complete a balloon section, where you and the balloon have similar yet different paths. Just keep an eye on where you are and where the balloon currently is. In my playthrough, the balloon got stuck and then it eventually just went under the course, so I kind of had to control the balloon along my path. In my infinite wisdom, I also jumped while I was mounted to the balloon, so I freedom dove to my doom. Remember to comment if you think this total embarrassment of a gamer should never be allowed to open Roblox again. I had to repeat the section again, but this time actually guide my balloon along my path instead of its own designated path. Peak tower design and playtesting right here. You then go back inside the tower and meet Emerald. You ideally don't want to fuck up the one wraparound here because you will fall back to the beginning of floor 5 and have to repeat everything. Even after completing a trial, this bitch is still not convinced you are worthy of progressing further, so you must go back outside and find that a conveyor appeared from thin air. This time, the 40-second time trial is repurposed into going to her house to retrieve her diary. There used to be a shortcut you could do, and you can still perform this in the practice place, where you jump onto the edge of the basket here and jump onto the wall of the balloon maze to skip the entire maze. This of course got patched by moving the basket 10 feet away. Fuck my life, I guess. This 40-second section is complete bullshit because you can barely see what you are supposed to do and where to go, and I think 40 seconds is a bit too short for an impossible to sight read section. Or maybe my avatar fucking sucks for reading small platforms. So you perform a break into Emerald's house and retrieve her diary. Make sure you actually grab the diary because you do not want to repeat this section again. Don't clip farm on the way back and somehow walk off a straight path. Once again, don't fuck up the wraparound either. But yeah, once you return the diary, that's Emerald's section over, and you now complete Blaine's trials. Blaine is honestly such a dickhead. His first section starts with some basic platforming, unless you are me and somehow miss every jump under the sun like an idiot. Then it's not so simple. Touching the lava at any point here sends you back to the beginning of his section, so try to avoid it. Once again, there is some more relatively basic platforming, including a wrap around a thin platform. You should be familiar with this type of gameplay if you are doing this tower for whatever reason. Touching the lava here specifically only deals kill brick damage. Here you jump down to activate a button that makes some platforms at the top visible. You have 15 seconds to complete them, which is more than enough unless you fuck up. You then topple this wobbly top hat structure to reach a button in the ceiling. This one is a 10-second timer that enables some rocks at the bottom. You once again have more than enough time here. It takes me some time to activate it initially because I am very smart. This section consists of 2 elevators. One moves you upwards and the other downwards. There are some kill bricks to dodge, but they aren't solid, so the ones upwards are basically a joke. The ones downwards have potential to do a bit more damage, so I guess you should try to be mindful of the moving kill bricks and go through the gap in the slopes here. Here I took a bajillion damage because my IQ is larger than my ego. Outside, you are immediately greeted with a wraparound onto a 1-stud platform. Thank Christ this one is on the corner of a wall so it isn't too bad. Here is some more 1-stud gameplay. Very exciting stuff. Here I somehow managed to fuck up a head hitter. This is a professional at work, please do not do this at home. Then you make your way up to the next section, which is a very tight maze where you can't really jump. Attack Helicopter makes this a complete joke, but it is of course possible without it. Then there are some downwards wraparounds, which aren't too bad, especially since you can kinda jump from the beginning of the second one straight to the next section. Here is another maze. This time the ceiling and floor have different indications as to where the walls are, so I guess this becomes more of a memory section than anything. The solution is as disappointing as the average road beats update. Here is a platform that effectively acts as a seesaw. You must balance this one in a way where you can climb to the truss above you. Here is where you spawn 4 objects to build a section to reach the button on the ceiling. No matter what you build, you have to do some truss flicks to some degree. You can make them a pain in the dick to do if you felt like it. What I did was try to push the 2 tall pieces to the wall. I say try to because it is very hard to push these as the physics suck. I then move on to the 2 smaller pieces and use them as stepping stones for the course. As you can see, I am fucking cracked at truss flicks. You should get familiar with truss flicks, as floor 9 has at least 2 of these you will have to perform. After you press the button, you have to balance the seesaw to the other side and perform more wraparounds. It can be unclear where to go, but you eventually get used to it. In my infinite wisdom, I fucked up here and I have to repeat the entire section again. Don't worry, I've had to repeat every section of this tower many times because I suck at consistency. The only thing I have is persistence, as I somehow don't give up super easily. The only hard part here is the last obstacle, where you have to hug a pole with a very thin path around it. I would rush this section, but I don't have a consistent strategy for this one otherwise. I suppose the only goal here is to not die. After that you are done with this floor and can move on to Blaine's quizzes. Every answer in this section is wrong, so just pick a button and complete his trial each time. The first section involves some wraparounds. I would hope you are familiar with them, because this entire section is a nightmare otherwise. Thankfully these are netted, so if you fuck up all you have to do is climb a truss. I would be careful when climbing the truss however, as I have somehow managed to teleport out of the quizzes twice and pretty much complete his floor accidentally. I am almost certain this triggers a kick from the game if you complete the tower with this skip. Aww! So this accidental skip ends up fucking up your run. I want to sue whoever playtested this tower. The next section is some one-stud jumps. I found this to be easier than the wraparound section, even with my hatred for one-stud jumps. It's not the worst thing in the world. In this section, all you do is jump, as you can't move. Pay attention to the colour of the teleporters and what they are doing, as some move around. You get familiar with this section pretty quick. The green and blue teleporters don't move and you have to jump immediately. The white teleporter always has a seizure, so you kinda jump randomly and hope for the best. After his last question, you are sent to a kill room similar to Dean's, except there is more shit going on. If you have the trial mix, this is one of the best spots to use it. My only strategy here is to try to stay on the spinning platform, as it is the only bit that you can stand on without taking damage from the kill brick floor. In this section, you complete not even a falling. I thought this was cool. The gameplay is similar to Flood Escape, where you complete a tower before the flood rises. This time, the tower is falling and the kill brick floor is stationary. You have plenty of time to complete this if you know what you are doing, unlike me. If you fail this section, you repeat his quizzes and trials again. Not the worst outcome, but you would rather not fuck up at all. Once you complete that, you jump to a rather precarious platform outside that teleports you to an elevator section with a rising platform. Here you dodge the elevators as they fling you up to the ceiling that teleports you back to the beginning of this section. On the spinny section you don't want to hug the wall as there are elevators on the edges too. Then you have to jump to a teleporter while on a moving conveyor, which is designed to catch you off guard. Then you complete some trivia questions again, where it is focused on memory. This time, there is a correct answer. Failing these questions will force you to repeat not even a falling, so it's not all that bad, but still pretty bad. The answers here are green, then the wraparound on the right, and then the statue on the left. Afterwards, Blaine makes you do a final challenge for now, which is basically surviving standing on a spinning platform for 30 seconds. It's basically a hole in the wall minigame where you fit through some gaps, so it's actually kind of easy, especially in comparison to his other challenges. Fucking up here I am pretty sure just makes you repeat this section, so there is no loss of progress this time. When the 30 seconds elapses, just stay on the platform until the wall pushes you off, as this is there by design. You then complete a 15 stud jump, which is impossible by design. It then gives you the illusion that you are repeating the entire floor, which is a troll by design, as answering the question will teleport you to a cutscene where he, I guess, makes a phone call, but by this point I really did not care for the story, so I kinda just moved on because this shit is tiring. Welcome to the fucking shittest section of the tower. Newbie returns, but this time he shows less mercy than Blaine and gives you remorseless gameplay. If there is one section I suggest that you get familiar with, it's this one. I eventually got used to this after many hours. I don't think I want to talk about how much of my time was wasted here. I loop failed this so much that even the easiest jumps became very hard for me to concentrate on. I was not having fun. I do not recommend you make the same mistake I did and try to play this tower as part of your progression, or even if you are looking for an intense tower to beat. Here is where you will want to perform some trust flicks. I would hope you are familiar with them. These wraparounds suck, I hate these, but then again I hate everything about this floor. I suppose one positive is that this is netted. If failing here made you fall to floor 1 like traditional towers, I probably would have just given up. There isn't much to say here as the gameplay speaks for itself on how bad it is. The final stretch here with the tight angled wraparound and the wedge jumps is really janky and strange. Make sure to not overcommit to these final jumps, as I have walked off the one stud platform at the top at least 4 times. I wanted to beat myself up every single time. In my playthrough, the trust to the next half was bugged and it became impossible to progress. This can be fixed by jumping from the wall instead of the intended platform, but oh my god, this should be fixed. Why the hell is a trust climb effectively impossible at this point? The second half is mostly netted. If you fall anywhere in the direction Newbie at the top is facing, you are repeating the first half again. If you fall in any direction to the sides or behind him, you fall back to the beginning of the second half, which is a good thing. This section by design sucks as it is quite janky. No sane person would design a structure like this. I hope the design here speaks for itself in how janky it is. Once you get to the top, it isn't so bad until the rope at the end. You do some basic wraparounds and head hitters, which you should be very familiar with. There is an angled rope that isn't so bad, and then there is a straight rope with gaps that can be quite bad if you slip up. Thankfully this is the one section I didn't slip up somehow, but it is possible. And that is where my guide ends, and I start reacting to the boss fight. Oh my god, please, I'm turning on the game's music for this one. Okay, so we get trolled here. Soulless fight! This first section is basically a joke. Nah, I folded. I'm going to go wait for that. Let me through! Nah, there's no way I make it through. Bro, it's so fucking stupid. I can't fucking... Okay, there. Let me through! Oh my god! What the fuck? It's not letting me through a one-stud gap. I'm not that fat. Let me in, you fucking schmuck! Oh my god. What the fuck? This is so bullshit. It's not letting me fucking through. There we go. There we go. Okay, now we lock the fuck in. I just need to dodge the first half of the spinner because something I discovered, okay, is that when the box is coloured, it can go through the spinner without it disappearing. So I just need to get it over here and then see, it's basically immortal now, so we're good. At least the box stays down there. Okay, send that across. That's pretty much this section done. There's actually two ways you can do this final section to get the orb. You can either go over there and run over there, or you can do a, I think, ledge grab. But I'm going to opt for going on the ledge, or at least trying to. There we go. You can clip through the bun, but I'm not going to do that because... Yes. Oh, so the song repeats after a bit, okay. This second bit's really easy, especially in comparison to everything else. That's the orb already. Alright, now we're on to the third phase. It's not too much different, I think. I think all there is one extra yellow bit. Yeah, you can take a bajillion damage here. Okay, I don't know what Emerald's bit is. Okay, there. It's been so long since I practiced this bit, I don't know how to do it, but it's probably, I think this is the hardest bit in the entire boss fight. God damn it. I remembered that there was a conveyor there. Fuck! I didn't remember how much of a pain in the ass that section is. Apparently Emerald's orb can be bugged, so you might not even get it, but I hope I would. Because if I don't get that orb, I'm basically probably gonna have to resort to glitching the boss fight. Oh my god. Oh yeah, you just go up here, but you get troll. This line's indicating where you go. I also forgot how hard this second section was. It's pretty bad, because I couldn't really practice it in practice space because the conveyors were bugged. I can't see where you fucking go, because there's too many shit in the way. Too much shit in the way. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. Hate that bit too. I suppose you get used to this though. God damn it! How the fuck do you do that? Okay, I think there you want to try to do a wraparound, but it's really hard because that pillar's going to try to push you off. Oh my god, how did I miss that? Oh, fucking shit. I don't know where you go. I think over here, and then through here. Onto here. Fuck! Oh my god, it was so easy to not fuck up and I managed to do it. Okay, here. What? It already started? Oh, okay, well that was probably the easiest fourth phase ever. I would hope this doesn't invalidate my run though. If it does, I would probably kill myself. It's 3, isn't it? Oh, it wasn't? Huh. It's 30 seconds. And then we solve math. We've completed a series of stuff first. This stuff is easy, especially compared to everything else we've done previously. There's one wraparound here, but that's about it, really. Okay, spawn the brick, I think. Oh, it's there now. And the answer's gonna be 63. Because I'm not that dumb. Alright, I have the orb. Let's go, blow him up. Alright, I hope this gives me the fucking thing this time. Oh my god! Yes! Fucking shit! Oh my fucking god. I won at what cost? What the fuck, bro? Oh my god. Yes! Yes! Oh my god. Fucking hell, I don't have to do that ever again. Please, did I get the completion? I got it though, right? Oh, I got the whip. 1,342 minutes. What the fuck am I doing with my life? Oh my god. Okay, well, that's that done.